This is just really gratifying for me. I love it.
These extraordinary trees sell for thousands, but all the profits support a very good cause.
You don't realize why people would need uncompensated care, even if they have insurance.
They're actually seeing life in action. It's very hard to be a salmon.
And a spectacle of nature draws big crowds to a small creek in a Seattle park. These stories and more next on CityStream. Hi, I'm Enrique Cerna, and welcome to CityStream from Westlake Park. This towering evergreen helps the city usher in the holiday season. A few blocks south, the Fairmont Olympic Hotel is home to the Festival of Trees, a favorite tradition with an important mission. Nearly 24 designer trees sparkle and shine, each one thoughtfully decorated in honor of a patient of Seattle Children's Hospital. Nicole Sanchez tells us about the Festival of Trees fundraiser to help patients and their families.
What are you doing? Just checking out your teeth, huh?
Trying to take it out.
9-year-old Haley Maku can't wait to lose another tooth.
That looks like it's sewed. Definitely. I like this chair.
Just like so many other 9-year-olds, Haley is full of joy. But Haley's journey has not been like other kids. At 3 years old, she often complained of leg and neck pain. One day, things got so bad she couldn't walk or move.
We were in the hospital for about a week, and they were doing just like every test under the sun to try to figure out what was going on with her body.
Within days, doctors determined Haley had a rare genetic condition with no cure.
The disease is called Morquio A, and basically her body doesn't make the enzyme that we all have that helps to
Morphoscopic saccharidosis.
Mucopolysaccharidosis.
Mucopolysaccharidosis, sorry, but
Yes. So her body doesn't make the enzyme that everybody else has, breaks down cellular waste and gets it out of our body. So it accumulates in her bones and her organs and her soft tissue.
Haley needs weekly life-saving treatments for the rest of her life, each one costing nearly $30,000. When Haley's dad brought her to the ER, he had just lost his job. The family is grateful for Seattle Children's Hospital's Uncompensated Care Fund.
You see all the tests that are being ordered and you just think in your head like, God, how much is this gonna cost? And it's terrifying to have to think about that stuff when your child is sick in the hospital. And so there is just no way that we would have survived without uncompensated care.
Ready to come in?
The work that happens inside this unassuming warehouse is part of an annual fundraiser that helps patients like Haley.
I love Christmas.
The volunteers here with the Seattle Festival of Trees Guild spend countless hours designing Christmas trees to raise money for the hospital's Uncompensated Care Fund and Seattle Children's Autism Center. It's work they believe in.
Well, the reason I do this is because having been a student nurse at Seattle Children's Hospital, it was incredible to see the quality of care and caring.
Dottie Greenwood has been volunteering with the festival for more than 40 years.
It's an addiction. And I have to confess it is. So I have several at home, and I love doing them. And my car is so full of glitter that you can't get rid of it. It won't come out.
She says the team works year-round on the trees, which individuals and businesses can purchase for a minimum donation of $4,200.
This is just really gratifying for me. I love it.
Thank you. It's for Seattle Children's.
Guild members pour their hearts into this work. And it all comes to life each year at the Fairmont Olympic Hotel from late November to early December. The fundraiser also includes a gala event with a live and silent auction.
It's so heartwarming to be at the gala and read the signs on the trees that tell you their story and how they benefited from the funds that we are working all year to raise.
Seeing the people at the event and listening, you're just kind of listening to conversations as you're going around, and they're there for a good reason. And that's the big thing, is the children's part of it.
Each tree is dedicated to a children's hospital patient. Haley is being honored this year, and so is a 5-year-old twin boy named Tucker.
Within a few hours of Tucker being born, it was apparent there were other issues.
Amy McCarthy's son, Tucker, was born with a heart defect and other serious health issues. He spent most of his first year at Children's.
We learned that he had what's called esophageal atresia, along with a tracheal esophageal fistula, EATEF, and some other things. He has thumb dysplasia. He has some differences in his vertebrae. And so it's all part of an association they call VACTERL, that related to the heart defect. So a series of birth defects. So a bit of a surprise.
Tucker has had 5 major surgeries. He still faces some significant health challenges, but his family credits Children's for saving his life and helping them all get through such a difficult process.
They take care of the parents too. You know, they're there for the kids, but they really helped us through that whole experience.
Both families say having their children featured at the Seattle Festival of Trees brings them a lot of joy. They're thrilled to be part of such an important event that is helping to save even more precious lives.
We've never been to the Festival of Trees, always heard about it, and oh gosh, and looking forward to it.
It's been an honor to know that people care enough about her story, that people care enough about other kids with medical complexities to want to give and to want to help these families be able to take care of their kids the best they can.
What grade would you get Seattle Children's?
Yeah, I would give it like A+++++, infinity, ++, smiley face, triple smiley face.
This year, the Guild brought in more than $885,000 during its fundraiser. There's also a teddy bear suite at the Fairmont to help raise additional funds. You can check it out and donate through New Year's Day. To learn more, just go to seattlefestivaloftrees.com. Next, Salmon takes center stage of one of nature's incredible events. That's ahead as CityStream continues. Welcome back to CityStream. Our previous story showcased beautifully decorated trees, bringing hope to children in need. This next story explores symbols placed in trees to honor the Coast Salish people, while also providing healing and spiritual guidance. Producer Randy Ng has more.
After visiting the area, I noticed that there was a lot of healing that needed to happen. So I thought of a prayer paddle. It's like a design that shows thank you and prayer. I think when you pray for people, it's not necessarily for an outcome. It's for them to find the strength so they can find clarity. We call it the Red Road. The Red Road is about finding yourself to better yourself. And really, that's what this work is about. The designs are Coast Salish or Coast Salish. Seattle should have more Salish influence. Like, we don't have any welcome figures, we don't have any story poles, house posts. Alaskan art, which a lot of people are familiar with in Washington, is like the totem poles and the form line. Really, when that totem pole gets put in the ground, then it says that this is their territory, and it basically negates our people that are here, Muckleshoot, Tulalip, Suquamish, Swinomish, all these people that are still here, and we still don't have our own mark. And that is something that I'm hoping this does, is helps to bring back our mark. That would be like a Salish person, and their hands would be up like this, usually when we pray, either like this. And that's a way to say thank you too. When we say thank you, raise your hands up. And then Salish design is, we use crescents, trigons, ovals, and what's called positive and negative shapes. So if I were to carve that, so like those red shapes, they would be carved in. This is a good spot for these pieces because it's at a historical park, one of the first parks that Seattle opened, and it's kind of a good mingling spot where a lot of the city kind of crosses paths. Hopefully it just helps in whatever way. Maybe it'll lift somebody's day up. You know, everybody can use a prayer.
A spectacle of nature is on display at Carkeek Park. A historic chum salmon run is providing quite a show for curious visitors. Producer Matt Peterson takes a look.
That is a sockeye salmon! We're out here at Carkeek Park at our annual Salmon Celebration Day event. The Salmon Celebration Day is our biggest event of the season.
Thank you.
We have activities, lots of education booths.
Orca!
Lots of really cool organizations coming out. This year we have tons of fish. The most salmon you're going to see are going to be chum. They're also called dog salmon because of their very prominent teeth.
That is her testing to see if that's a good spot for a red. Oh yeah, there we go, perfect.
This is part of our Salmon Stewards program.
Oh, that one's got a big hook in the side there.
With Parks and Rec and Seattle Public Utilities.
Seems to be a lot of them this year. Love nature. I love sharing that with people. And this is like one of those rare opportunities where people come out and something is happening that's pulling them away from their screens and their jobs.
Interesting to see kind of up close and personal, like what this life cycle looks like.
They're actually seeing life in action. And I really like engaging with people when they're in that mode because it gives me an opportunity to sort of share that joy and that love with them.
Oh, I think it's really exciting to be able to get my son out into nature like this.
If you watch them long enough, you're gonna witness something pretty cool because once they get up the courage and the energy, they're gonna try to make a push for getting over that weir.
They only are in the stream for about 10 days, and that's how long they will survive after coming into the fresh water.
No, I guess I knew this was the end of their life. I didn't expect to see so many dead salmon.
A lot of people get really bummed when they see the dead fish, and the reason we leave them is because they bring in very important nutrients from the ocean, and when they die, they deposit those nutrients here. And now we have all these beautiful trees and animals that rely on those nutrients. It's very hard to be a salmon.
Salmon stewards, they're stationed up and down the creek every Saturday and Sunday in November from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m.
It's actually an incredibly important part of this ecosystem, and it's one that's worth preserving.
As nature's life cycle plays out in a North End creek, a splash of color is adding new life to Seattle neighborhoods. Vibrant new murals are lifting spirits and inspiring creativity. Randy Ng shows the new brilliance in Belltown.
The murals are all really close. You start at the center, sort of Belltown Dog Park at 3rd and Bell, and you can kind of walk a couple loops. It's less than a mile. It'll take you 15 minutes or 2 hours, depending on how long you want to take. But every time you turn a street corner, you'll see another mural or two. These artists, they're passionate, they're fierce, they're hardworking, they're self-sufficient, they're super professional, and they care as much as anybody that I've met in the neighborhood.
We like it with the local community.
We'll be able to create and have more funding towards the arts.
He was ready as soon as he saw it happening. They were so welcoming. They just said, pick up a can, give it a try.
Writing my initials, but in spray paint.
He's doing great. He's living the dream.
It makes people smile. It helps promote our vibrant city.
It's cool to see how X number of dollars can look this big, or it can look this big.
It's something that's healing for all of us, especially coming back from COVID, especially working constantly and trying to keep up with the prices of Seattle. Like, art it's freedom, and it's healing for all of us, and I think it's something that we all benefit from.
From wall art at eye level to an elaborate design in the trees, we'll take you to the Arboretum as CityStream continues. This time of year, trees get plenty of attention. Brightly wrapped presents fill their base, and hundreds of tiny light bulbs make them shimmer and shine. At the Washington Park Arboretum, trees hold a different allure, blending art and nature by embracing a dramatic new sculpture called Union. Brian Callanan has the story.
All right, ready?
Installing one of John Grotti's sculptures isn't just a walk in the park.
I would stop there, John.
His latest creation, called Union, took a crew of a half-dozen people pulling and adjusting,
just testing,
to lift 220 pounds of art.
Go a little bit more, you're still slack.
And you won't find any walls in this gallery. This piece hangs above a path in the Washington Park Arboretum, providing what Grotti sees as a union of art and nature.
That's the big message. You know, can we bring these things together, and what does it do for our thinking about the natural world when we see something like this?
The sculpture, approved by University of Washington arborists, is bolted into 8 trees and suspended with stainless steel cables. Union spans more than 100 feet with a combination of fishing line netting and the true magic of this sculpture, elongated ovals of blue and green resin cast in laminated ceiba wood. There are more than 6,500 of these cast resin pieces in this sculpture. They're intended to look like the cell structure of a tree.
John was really interested in tree cells specifically.
That's Quinlan Johnson, who worked with Lindsay Champlin as the co-leads on the Union project. Their task was to model this sculpture after a fallen western red cedar Grotti found in Discovery Park that had a trunk divided into 2 leaders with 2 very different sets of concentric growth rings.
One had many, many more growth rings, which were much tighter together, and the other one had looser, fewer, half as many rings, but doing all kinds of strange patterning and shaping.
After creating the resin cells, the project came together by mimicking the outline of the growth rings, which you can see from underneath the sculpture, even if you're laying down on the job.
In the net, you can actually see there's like strata in the way the pieces are hung on the net, from like large to small pieces, and then it starts over again, large to small.
And looking closer, no 2 pieces are exactly the same. While the inspiration comes from a microscopic view of the cell of a western red cedar, the perspiration comes from nearly 6 months of casting work.
When you're doing large-scale sculpture or work in general, you need a team.
And it's a team of 15 artisans with different backgrounds and expertise levels.
And so that brings a lot of different perspectives to the table, and it makes it much more interesting. And also, there's a lot more possible because of all the different perspectives and experience.
Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Providing a different experience at the Arboretum, a living museum with more than 20,000 plants from over 100 countries is what Christina Owen is all about.
I'm a strong believer that one of the keys to education and learning is enjoyment and fun.
Owen is director of the University of Washington Botanic Gardens.
This sculpture, for me, really sits at the intersection of art, nature, and science.
The UW has been planning the sculpture for nearly 2 years and says the artwork will not have a negative impact on wildlife.
This is just part of one of those elements that we can bring in to make the Arboretum a special place.
And Owen is excited to see the special changes Union goes through each season of the year, weighed down by winter rain or sparkling in the summer sun.
It looks different from different angles, too. And it's just that continued representation of just everything that is encompassing of life and in the Arboretum and in trees.
It's a changing sculpture for a changing world.
I think this is very, very interesting. It's a different way of creating art.
But John Grotti, who's built hanging outdoor artwork like this all around the globe, has stayed grounded with one unchanging fact.
I can never compete with the natural world. So you're going to get more out of a tree or a walk in the forest than I'm going to be able to offer.
Wow, it's super magical if you look at it.
But that's just one branch of the Union story. It's been said that great art picks up where nature ends. But maybe art can do something even greater when the place where nature ends is just the beginning.
Hopefully what the sculpture will do is it offers something more than what I'm trying to do. It might give you a little window into this idea that a group of people come together to make something like this. And then we sort of blend this natural world in with kind of culture and with society. And I think that's a nice thing to sort of, as you're having a walk through this space, just sort of contemplate that after you've had the experience of seeing it.
There we go.
Union will be a temporary sculpture at the Arboretum in place for about 5 years. And finally tonight, this holiday season is packed with cherished memories, family, friends, and traditions. For producer Randy Ng, one of his favorite holiday memories revolves around this very spot, Westlake Center. Back in the early 70s, his dad would bring him here to see a giant 5-story tall Santa Claus. Fast forward 50 years, and Randy wondered whatever happened to that enormous St. Nick. After a little digging, he actually tracked it down. And believe it or not, the big guy turned up in the most fitting place of all, the North Pole.
World's largest Santa was actually originally created in Seattle in 1968 to stand outside the Westlake Mall. It's kind of a mall promotion for the holidays. So the Merchant Association actually contracted with a gentleman by the name of Wes Stanley, who ran Stanley Plastics in Enumclaw, where he did Santa. He did a number of dinosaurs and things like that. It was a massive scale compared to anything that he had ever done before. And he actually had to build a 5-story tall shed outside of his workshop to be able to put this Santa statue together. He is actually a fiberglass statue. He's got a steel framework inside, and then there's a wire mesh that goes around the steel framework, and then fiberglass is sprayed on outside of that. I know that he spoke through a loudspeaker, but I don't know if he ever waved an arm or smoked a pipe. I would love to hear from somebody who actually saw him standing outside Westlake Mall to know whether he really did that or not. Because he was a holiday-only promotion outside of Westlake Mall, it became too much to do, so he actually stayed in storage. He was bought by the Anchorage Chamber of Commerce, where he stood outside the federal building for a few years. And then, again, it became too much of a challenge, so we bought him here at Santa Claus House in 1978. The giant Santa really is the best billboard that anybody could ever have. We probably have well over $100,000 into this statue to keep him standing even 55 years later. When you have a landmark of that magnitude, they really take on a life of their own, and you hear all these urban legends about the world's largest Santa. The funniest one that I've heard repeatedly is that his belly is actually a Volkswagen Beetle. There is not a Volkswagen Beetle inside the world's largest Santa. There are a couple of other places in the world that actually will do giant lighted Santas, well, but my understanding is that they're temporary. Our Santa is the only year-round Santa on a scale of that magnitude. So really, our giant Santa is the last one standing.
That wraps up this edition of CityStream from Seattle's Westlake Park. If you'd like to see more outstanding Seattle Channel programs, go to our website, seattle.gov, and search for feature shows. I'm Enrique Cerna. Thank you for watching and happy holidays.